We are live.
नमस्कार मंडळी, मी उल्का नगरकर, महाराष्ट्र मंडळ शिकागो 2022 ची अध्यक्ष तुमच्या सगळ्यांचं आजच्या सेशनमध्ये स्वागत करते. आजच्या सेशनला सायबर कट्टा म्हटलं तरी हरकत नाही. आपली महाराष्ट्र मंडळाची जी IT टीम आहे, ज्यांनी स्वतःला तांत्रिक मांत्रिक हे नाव घेतलेलं आहे, त्या टीम तर्फे आजचं हे सेशन आहे. आणि त्या टीमचा इसिलिये जान आपला व्हाईस प्रेसिडेंट प्रसाद अथणीकर याला मी विनंती करते की त्यांनी या सेशनची सूत्र आपल्या हाती घ्यावी. धन्यवाद.
थँक्स उल्का. नमस्कार मंडळी, मी प्रसाद अथणीकर. तर जसं उल्का म्हणाली की आपण आपल्या IT टीमला तांत्रिक मांत्रिक म्हणतो, कारण का आपल्या टीम मध्ये मल्टी फॅसेट लोक आहेत, वेगवेगळे प्रोग्राम करतात, कार्यक्रम करतात आणि बॅकबोन ऑफ ऑल द ऑनलाईन प्रोग्राम्स इज आवर IT टीम. तर त्यांच्यातर्फे एक प्रोग्राम करायचा माझ्या मनात होता आणि we got the right person to conduct this show or conduct this session which is like on cyber security. तर आजचे आपले गेस्ट आहेत विवेक मगर. तर जस्ट त्यांची थोडक्यात ओळख करून देतो. तर विवेक मगर is in lives in Naperville Plainfield area, and he leads the critical cyber security function in his company and for the largest business financial institution in US. He has an advanced degree in physics as well, and as physicist जसे असतात he has a reading habit, so he reads lots of books. He does all the DIY projects, and also along with those, all these academic and all those intellectual hobbies, so he has golf as his sports hobby. So everybody is looking forward to this session. So Vivek, take it forward from here.
Thank you, Prasad, and thank you, Ulka, for the opportunity. And thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule. Right. Let me start by apologizing, for the false start we had last week. Right. There was some unmitigated circumstances because of which I couldn't do this last week. But hey, here we are, right? So before we start, I want to set some expectation, right? Number one, when we say cybersecurity, we are going to talk about our personal home security, right? I'm not talking about enterprise kind of cybersecurity. Number two, just in terms of the expectations, right? If any of you are here thinking that I'm going to give you some magic formula or some magic software or tool that will solve all your security and privacy problems, you are in the wrong meeting, okay? Because there is no such thing as a magic formula or magic tool that will fix, or protect you from all, cyber criminals. So what I'm going to talk about is really very common sense things that we can do, on an everyday basis, right? That will protect us from cyber criminals. What we call as hygiene best practices that we should be doing, no matter what. And then, of course, I'll get into some of the tips and tricks that I have learned over, a period of time as an individual DIY guy, as well as, a member of cybersecurity for my company, right? So these things are essential. We should all be doing them all the time to protect us, you individually and the community around, to save us or protect us from cyber criminals. And the reason I say community is because one of the key things we have to understand about cybersecurity is even any of us in this meeting room is cyber compromised, everybody is at risk. Okay, one person in this room gets compromised, everybody can be at risk, which is why it is essential, that we take care of all these, cyber issues, not only for us, but, for the entire community around us. So the next part is just about a note on the content that I'm going to talk about. Almost all the content is pure text. Okay, I don't have any visuals or videos or anything. And essentially because I'm really not good at creating those fancy PowerPoints, right? I just put all the thoughts I had in the PowerPoint, and we'll go through it one by one, right? So don't try to read it, just listen to what I'm saying, right? I'll anyway send out the key points that you should remember on an ongoing basis after the meeting, so you can just refer to that, right? And again, I'm not going to go through every little detail that is there in the PowerPoint, but I'll touch on the the major items that you should be focused on, right? And then, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me, and then we can get into detail of any of the items, right? The reason I'm going through only certain key items is just simply because of lack of time. I don't know how much time we have. I'm assuming, I'm expecting to spend about 45 minutes on the content, and then maybe 15 minutes for any questions you may have. So that's how I frame this. Any questions before I get started? Okay. All right. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Is it big enough?
You can make a slideshow if you want. Yeah, that will be better for everyone.
Better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, cool. So so let me start with the the actual contents that we are going to go through, right? A quick first one is a quick update on what are the real risks, right?
Vivek, sorry to interrupt. Can you close the next slide portion on the right?
Never done this before, so my apologies. I don't know how to do this. Hold on.
Maybe you can click use the slideshow on the, yeah, that is fine as well. Yep.
Okay. So I'll quickly touch on what are the real cyber risks, right, and threats, and how they affect everybody today in the world, including large corporations and individuals like us. Then we'll go through your desktop, laptop security and how you should manage your passwords. Third one, and the most important one, is your email and phishing. Okay. And all the slides will look like this, right? A lot of text, and the important items will be highlighted in orange, just like you see right. Then we'll go over, how to maintain privacy and your data protection. The reason privacy factors into cybersecurity is because both are closely linked, right? If you have a lot of your private information and data out there on the internet, it's very easy to get hacked, right? That's why privacy is an integral part of all your cybersecurity maintenance. And the last one is, mobile and wireless security. So, and then we'll get into the question and answer part. And if we still have time, I'll tell you, in spite of knowing everything about cybersecurity, how I got hacked through Amazon Web Services, right? So with that, I'm just going to move on to the next one. Okay. All right, risks and threats, right? So the risk to your, online presence and your, laptops, whatever tools you may have, primarily comes from three things, right? One is phishing, and we'll get into the details of each one of these in the following slides, right? Second is ransomware and malware that can, get into your systems. And the third is system vulnerabilities, which is, essentially software that's running on your, computers is vulnerable in some sort, and these vulnerabilities can be exploited by the hackers, right? Now, who are these actors who do these, crazy things or criminal activities? So, number one is state-sponsored hackers, right? So these people are essentially an arm of, the government that is trying to hack into some other government for political secrets, for industrial espionage, and so on and so forth, right? And they are actually funded by the government. We have heard of Russian hackers trying to hack US elections, right? So that is state sponsored. The second is what are called as hacktivists, right? So these are loose organizations. So this is not a formal organization, it's just a group of people who are extremely talented at hacking, right? They are extremely good at doing this stuff. They think they own the internet, right? And they have their own agendas, right? A classic example is, Anonymous, right? We have heard so many times, Anonymous, hacks a lot of governments and leaks data about individuals, their, bank accounts, and so on and so forth, right? So sometimes their opinions are right, sometimes they are wrong, right? But either way, they do infringe on the right of others in terms of cyber independence. And the third one is cyber criminals. So these are the ones that we have to be very careful about, because these are the people who will hack you simply just for money, right? That is their only object, right? So these are the ones that usually get into this phishing and malware and all that kind of stuff, and they will go after you. And the last one is just some statistics for you to understand the scale of this problem, right? Worldwide cost in 2021 to fight cyber, cyber terrorism or whatever you want to call it, was $6 trillion. In general, this set of hackers make, on an average, in the last 2 years, they have made about $1.5 trillion a year, right? So that's how much money these people make. And then some of the other stuff we'll get into the following slide. So any questions so far?
I think we are good. Usually people save their questions till the end.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, so we'll start with your desktop and laptop, right? Like I said, I'm going to go over the ones that are in orange, right? So number one, when you want to protect your desktop and laptop, right? Make sure your firewall on your laptop or desktop is enabled, right? These operating systems today, on all today's laptops and desktops have a firewall. Just want to make sure that you have it enabled, right? If you do know something about firewall, you can, play around with its configuration as per your, taste. But just enabling it is enough to stop a lot of people from connecting into your operating system. Okay. Number three, which is very simple. We do it all the time. I just wanted to make sure that you guys are still doing, which is have an antivirus software installed. Make sure that the virus signatures, malware signatures are always up to date. Okay. Enable auto updates of these signatures if possible, right? It can be sometimes inconvenient because you are doing something and suddenly it starts to, update the virus signature. So we try to avoid those kind of things. But, my suggestion, do it regularly or have your auto updates on. Okay. And then the next one is your operating system, up to the latest security patch level. When I say the security patch level, a lot of times you must have seen, if you have Windows PC, you start it up after, let's say, 1 day, and then the first thing that comes up is, do you want to update your system, right? And then, because we are in a hurry to do something, we say, oh, let's do it later because this is going to take a lot of time, right? So those are, it's okay if those updates are not critical, right? But almost always, each of these patches has at least one security update, in that. And these are critical because hackers are always keeping track of any vulnerability in these operating systems, right? The moment they know that there is a vulnerability, they'll start to exploit, right? So always keep at least the security part of your operating system up to the latest patch, which actually reminds me, I don't know if you guys watch Saturday Night Live, but on the last Saturday Night Live, you know how it goes, right? They first have this section which earlier used to be on Trump. Nowadays it's on Biden. And this one was exactly about this, which is Biden goes, oh, I don't like computers. Anytime I open the computer, it says, do you want to update? Right? It was funny. You should watch it. I can't, exactly do it the same way. But the bottom line is, yes, make sure it is always updated, right? And the last one is your browser also always updated, right? Because 90% of the time you are connected to the internet through your browser. Okay, so make sure it is also always up to the latest, security patch. Okay. Okay, I'll just come to the questions later. Right? I don't know why I'm just used to stopping for questions, but if you do have, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, now, passwords. So I'm going to go through all of these because it's short and it's very important, right? I can guarantee that everyone who's on this call, including me, reuses passwords across different systems, different websites, different accounts, right? Because it's simply not possible to remember like what 30 passwords, 40 passwords, right? I don't know how many accounts each one of you use, right? But it's really what do you call it? Not a good practice. And the reason for that is, and I'll show you that in a second, right? Is because if one of your accounts get compromised, right? And not because somebody hacked into your PC or somehow got hold of your software, right? But you hear about data breaches all the time, right? I'm sure you heard of the Equifax data breach that happened, what, two years back, right? Now, when these data breaches happen, hackers get hold of a ton of data, right? Related to your username, password, email, social security number, and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, once as a hacker, I get hold of this information, and if you are using that password, username, password across 5 different, accounts, I have access to 5 of your accounts, right? So even though it may be inconvenient, try to avoid reusing password at least on your critical online accounts. So let's say you have 3 bank accounts, 2 brokerage accounts, try to, at least for these 5 or 6 critical accounts, have a different password. Okay, make your password strong, right? So make sure all my passwords are 20 character long. Right now, I know it's not possible for everybody to do that, but at least have more than 8 characters. Have a mixture of uppercase, lowercase letters, and have at least 1 special character and 1 number in it, right? The reason for this is the way hackers go after cracking passwords. They have to go through each character, right? Each character set and figure out the combination, right? So if you just had letters, all that hacker has to do is go through 26 iterations. Okay. Now, if you introduce a number, right, the iterations become 26 into 10. If you introduce a special character, so it exponentially goes up. The complexity of the difficulty of cracking a password exponentially goes up as soon as you introduce a different type of character, right? So always do that, right? Uppercase, lowercase, special character, and a number. Okay, and then preferably more than 8 characters, as much as you can handle, right? Change passwords often, right? I change passwords across my critical accounts at least once a quarter. Okay, so once every 3 months. Do not write down passwords anywhere. Okay, do not write it down or do not put it in a Word file and save it on your computer. No. And then, as far as possible, use dual factor or triple factor authentication on all your critical accounts, right? What is dual factor authentication? You have a password, and then you set up the code that they send to your phone for any time you're logging in, right? So let's say you are trying to log into your Amazon account, right? Enable dual factor authentication, right? It may be inconvenient, it may be a little bit time consuming, but you are always making sure that you are the only person who can log into that account, because hacker cannot get hold of two things at the same time, right? Which is your password and your phone, right? Now you can use, if you want to make these things easier, you can use a password manager and a password generator, right? Now password manager and password generator come built in with an Apple laptop, right? So it's very convenient if you have an Apple laptop. I don't know if it is there on Windows, right? But even if it is not there, or if you don't trust Apple or your laptop manufacturer to provide you with a good password manager or a generator, there are a lot of third-party softwares that you can use, right? You can go and at the end of this slide deck, there is a website that compares all these services, right? So you can compare the services for virus softwares, password managers, and use the one that you feel most comfortable. Okay. All right. So that was about passwords. Okay. Now we come to the most important part of it, right? Which is your email, right? So this, as the title says, right, is the Achilles heel of every common person's, cyber security issues, right, including phishing, right? Now, the most critical aspects of this that you need to take care of, the ones are that I highlighted, right? If you think an email is suspicious, just delete it. Do not even open it. Okay. Now, how do you decide an email is suspicious, right? Normally, these things, these suspicious emails have two characteristics, right? A, either they are too good to be true, or they are too scary, right? So in the email message, you will find something like, you just won like 50% off on something, right? Or we are giving, if you buy one, we'll give you two free, right? So those kind of things that will make people, right, want to open that email. Or they could be scary, like, oh, we have so and so information about you, and if you do not contact us, like something bad will happen, right? So those are two tactics people usually use in phishing, right? So if you feel suspicious, just delete it, right? You will always know that if an email is genuine or not, generally by looking at the context, when it is coming in, who it is coming from, right? Because, for example, I'm never going to send an email at 3 a.m. in the morning to Shri Chafik, right? Saying, hey, you just want something, right? So, so we generally, from the context, we know that an email is suspicious. So just delete it. If you don't want to, if you do want to look at a suspicious email, right? What I usually do is, if I feel an email is suspicious and I want to verify it, I usually just right click on the email without opening it, right? And save it as a PDF, right? Now what happens is, when you save it as a PDF, it becomes completely harmless. It becomes just a set of text. Then you can go in, and I can actually show you an example. Hold on. I'm going to stop sharing and bring up.
The visualization is always helpful.
Sorry?
Visualization is always helpful to understand who and what to do.
So let me go back and start seeing this. Okay. So,
yeah, if anyone has any questions, please type it in the chat. We will take them in the end of the session. I'm just taking chance to talk to everyone. Vivek gets on everything.
Can you see my screen with my emails in here?
Yeah.
Okay. So look at this one. This is a classic phishing email, right? Somebody is trying to sell me, like an old man, some fancy insurance, right? I know this is a what do you call a phishing email because I already opened it, right? Both these. So, but if you don't want to open it, this is what you can do, right? I selected the email. I go to here and I say export as PDF. Okay. So
Vivek, we can't see what you're doing. We just see that small bar where you have all the emails open or Chrome tabs open.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. I think I got it. Okay. Now, can you see my emails here?
We can see now.
Okay. So I select this email, right? I go here and I say export as PDF. Okay. So it's going to save it as a PDF somewhere on my laptop. And then I go and hold on. Okay. So it saved it as a PDF. And I open the PDF. Okay, can you see the PDF?
No, I think you shared the application, not the desktop.
I can't share this. It doesn't allow me to.
Oh, okay. So you need to.
That doesn't allow me to. What do you call? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, can you see the PDF now?
Yes.
Okay. So here is how this phishing thing typically works, right? When we looked at the email, it said it is coming from Fidelity, right? But when I did it, when I saved it as a PDF, now it's saying that from alamin something at gmail.com, right? So clearly this is a phishing email, right? So this is how you can actually take a look at email without harming your computer.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So we go back up. Sorry, stop sharing. Okay, so I don't know where I was. I think I lost track. Okay, so that I was talking about this, right? And then the second one, and this you have to do. Never ever click on any email and any link in any email.
You sharing the screen?
I did not. Somebody else sharing something? No, that's okay. Am I back?
Yes, we can see now.
Okay. All right. So, and this is the other rule, right? Never ever click on any link in any email, even if you know what it is, right? Because what happens is, you are in a hurry, you are trying to do something, and you click on the wrong link on the in the wrong email, and then you are trapped, right? So if you follow these two things, right, 90%, 99% of your risk from emails, which is where most hackers go for, it's gone. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show you is this one. And when I was talking about passwords, right, I talked about data breaches, right? So you can easily go and find out if you have been a part of any data breach by going to this address, right? And I'm going to show you this in a second, right? So let me again stop sharing and then bring up the browser.
Actually, I was just keeping that on. So it's like when you said that you can right click and save in the PDF, on my Windows laptop, what I do is when I open the Gmail in Chrome, I can mouse over on the name of the email. It shows me the actual email address.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot of things, right? Essentially, the bottom line is do not open the email if you think it is suspicious. I think that's really what I'm trying to say. Okay, so can you see my browser here?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So this website keeps track of like most major data breaches, that happen across the world, right? And then you can see if your email has been a part of any of the data breaches by just entering your email, right? So at the risk of being laughed at, I'm going to put my email here, okay? And you will see how ridiculous this is. Okay, so it says I've been pawned, right? So look at the data breaches my email has been compromised in. Adobe in 2013. Sorry. Audi in 2019. B2B, I think this was in 2017. Sit 0 day. This is a collection of hundreds of websites, right? So I could have been on any one of those websites and it got compromised. Collection on one, I don't know what that is. Coupon Mom, right? PDL, eWhite, Gravita, LinkedIn, Park Mobile. So data breaches happen absolutely every day. Okay, so keep a track of which all of your accounts have been part of these data breaches, and you can do one or two things, right? Go and close that account, unsubscribe, close that account on that website, right? Or change the password if you do intend to use that service, again. Okay, so I think that probably covers the email part. Okay, so the next one, I'm losing track of stuff. Okay. All right, privacy. So, like in the introduction, I mentioned, right, privacy and security are very closely linked, because any of your personal information that's out there on the internet can be used to hack into your system, right? Now, this part of hacking, where people use or hackers use your personal information to hack into your accounts, is called social engineering, right? Now, how does this work? I'm sure at some point in your life you have had to reset a password, and then what happened was the website or the service where you're resetting the password, right, asked you those 3 questions, right? Supposed to be information that you just know, right? Just is known only to you, and then you go back and enter that information, and it allows you to reset the password, right? So now just imagine that if somebody had access to your information on Facebook, right? Now, what are these typical questions that we usually put there? Oh, what was the name of my school, or what's the name of my pet, which is my most favorite football team, and so on and so on, right? Now, just imagine if you put a lot of this information on, on social websites or, wherever, right? It becomes a very easy way for hackers to get that information and use it in these kind of, password reset mechanisms, right? So that's why keep your personal information as much to yourself as possible, right? Don't put it on social media. Don't put it in any documents that can be easily accessed. Don't put it on Google Drive and Google Docs and things like that, right? So some of the important ones that to note here, right? Just recall if anytime in the last 1 year you have shared any kind of personal information to any suspicious, person like a telemarketer or suspicious website or something, right? If yes, can do a lot of things about it, but just make sure that you don't do it going forward again, and never ever put these kind of stuff on social media, right? I personally get very upset when people start like wishing happy birthday, because now there are like 300 people who know my birthday, right? And our birthdays is one of the most important data points for authenticating ourselves to anybody, right? You call your what do you call healthcare provider, the first thing they're going to ask you is, hey, what's your date of birth? And you go to pick up your prescription, that's what first thing they are going to ask, right? So it's I understand like people want to wish you birthdays, but I wish people stop doing that because the information gets public. Go and review privacy settings on all your social media, accounts, right? Social media accounts, any services you use, right? Keep it to the minimum possible required level of, privacy, meaning maximum privacy, minimum information being shared across apps, across, across anything. Right. For example, this is a great example. If you use Google Maps as GPS, and if you have not turned off tracking history, Google literally knows every foot that you have traveled in the last entire 1 year. So if you have not cleared that history, or if you have not turned off that tracking, just go and take a look at it. You will be shocked how much information Google, takes from you and stores it. Okay. The next one is, have you done an ego search lately, right? An ego search is basically going to Google and searching for yourself. Okay, search for yourself on Google with as much detail as possible and see how much information comes, right? There'll be two types of information that is going to, I don't know, where is my, hold on, sorry. Can't see. Okay. Sorry, Prasad.
What happened?
You still see my screen?
It says started screen sharing. Yeah, it is maybe coming up.
Okay.
It's up now.
All right. So I was talking about Google search, right? Or ego search. So if you go on Google and search for yourself, you'll find a lot of information, or you may not find, a lot of information. But essentially, it will fall in two categories. One is information that is in public domain that you can never get rid of, right? and then information that is not in public domain. So the ones that is not in public domain, right? So for example, if your Facebook account comes up there, if your LinkedIn account comes up there, if your Twitter account comes up there, those are the things that should not show up in a Google search, and you can actually stop it, right? You can actually go to Google and tell them that you do not want this information to be published in their search results. That is one way you can do it. Or you can just go to, let's say, LinkedIn. You can go to LinkedIn and set your privacy settings so that it does not appear anywhere. Okay, so that's one part. The other part is the public records, right? So those will almost always show, right? For example, all the information, let's say, for example, you live in Will County, right? All the information about your home, your mortgage, when you bought that, who owns it, blah, blah, blah. It's all there on, Will County Treasurer's website, and it's supposed to be public information. So if you search for it, you will find it, right? And you cannot stop it because those are the regulations, right? Now, one thing you can do to minimize your online footprint, which is all this information being out there, is to use an online service, which it will cost you probably like $4 or $5 per month kind of thing. But they try to clean up as much of this information as possible, right? Now, it's not to say that you have to use a service. You can do it yourself too. You just have to go to each one of these websites, click unsubscribe, submit requests and things like that. It takes time, it takes patience, but you can do it yourself. Okay, so that's kind of the summary of critical, privacy issues that you can manage. Okay. That was about privacy. Okay, now, if you do find yourself, or even before finding yourself being hacked, right? Some of these things you can just do it, even before that, right? Which is freeze your credit. You're not applying for a loan or a mortgage or anything on a daily basis. Okay, you probably need it, I don't know, once a year, refinance your mortgage or do something. Really, that's the only time somebody needs to go and look at your credit report or request for credit. So you can just go to all the three sites, Experian, and the other two, right? And you can submit a request to freeze your credit, right? What that does is, even if somebody does get hold of your personal information like social security number and other stuff, they can't do anything, right? Because if they try to use it for some kind of financial gain, your credit is frozen, right? You can unfreeze it when you want it, and again put it back on freeze, right? So if you want to run a credit report today, you can unfreeze, tell your mortgage refinancer to run a credit report and then freeze it up. Right? It's a very good way of protecting your credit. Now, when submitting credit card information on a website, make sure, right? And I'm going to show this how to do this in a second, right? That it's a genuine website, right? And the only way to do that is by checking the website security setting, right? So, and I'll show you like very quickly how to do that. Okay. Okay, can you see my web browser?
Yeah, just the browser and the tabs.
Okay, yeah, good. That's all I want. So any website you go to, if you want to make sure that it is authentic, right, it is protected, and your communication between your PC or your phone and that website is secure, right? Basically what you do is, and this is especially important when you are going to your bank website or buying something using your credit card, right? So go here, and there is always be a lock icon. You see this lock icon here, right? One that, okay. So click on that. Okay, so it's going to open a window that says Safari is using an encrypted connection, blah blah blah, and then down below you'll see this show certificate. Okay, so you click on that. Okay, now there is going to be a lot of information here, right?
Yeah.
So what you want to make sure, right, is this certificate is valid. Okay, now a lot of good browsers will tell you even beforehand if a certificate is not valid, right? The moment you put in the web browser, web address, it's going to tell you whether the certificate is valid or not. But some of them don't, right? So number one, that this certificate is valid. Number two, right? Trust. Who is this certificate issued by, right? So that's the information you will start to see here. Okay? So you're going to Google website. Now, the funny thing about Google is Google creates their own certificate. Okay, so this certificate is for Google site, but is issued by Google themselves, right? Which is fine. For other websites, let me take this is not a good example. Let me take,
Yeah, the actual certificate or information part we can't see.
Okay.
Because you can't share the desktop, right? That's why probably it was the tab.
Okay, that's fine. I think I can share desktop. Okay. Okay. Can you see the Amazon website?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I go here. I click on the what do you call it? Can you see the window now?
We can see.
Okay. So you click on show certificate. Okay. And here is the certificate, right? So this will tell you that a company called DigiCert Global issued this certificate, that this is valid. Okay. And these are the parameters by which your information is being encrypted, but that's not important. So who's issued it, whether it is valid, and then down below in the information, somewhere you should see Amazon.com, right? Which is basically who owns this certificate. So this DNS name, this is where you will see the fact that this certificate was issued by DigiCert to Amazon, and it's a valid certificate. So anytime now, if you're going to a website that you know is for sure, secure for sure, you don't need to do this all the time. But let's say tomorrow you want to buy something somewhere and you have never been to that website, make sure that, that it has got a valid, security certificate. Okay. Right. Now, so this next one is, again, a lot of people, I think this is in the wrong section, but that's fine. We'll still go through it, right? Is any of these devices that we bring and install in our house, right? So whether it's your thermostat, whether it's your webcam, whether it's your doorbell, or whether it's your new smart fridge, or whether you new smart TV, anything that has a Wi-Fi, right? Or that can be connected to the internet, can be discovered and can be hacked. Okay. So a lot of people who are not very savvy or knowledgeable about this, right? Just bring the device, install it, works great. I can change my temperature on my phone. I can do it remotely. I can, see through this camera. But what they forget is, this part, which is, sorry. Changing the default username, password, and other security parameters on these devices. Okay. So, and I can actually show you some pretty cool examples of how this can be exploited right now. Okay. So see this website called Shodan.io. So Shodan.io is a Google for hackers, right? It's a I mean, it's just not for hackers. Anybody can use it, but hackers use this to find stuff on the internet that they can hack very easily, right? So like I said, right, webcams is a very classic example. Nobody bothers to change anything on webcams or, you know, our security cameras that we put inside the house. We bring it, put it there, we connect it to our wireless, and we are happy that we can see stuff on the internet, right? So, or on our phone remotely. So here is what we'll do. I'll go to, okay. Okay, so let's see webcams. So Shodan, what this website basically does is it scans every IP address that's available to it in the world, right? And it will try to see if it can get into that IP address, right? You know what an IP address is, right? Every device on the internet has a 4-digit address like this. See this one, 139.162 point something. This is called an IP address, right? This is how everything is identified on the internet, whether it's your phone, whether it's your webcam, or whether it's your laptop, right? This is how it is identified, right? So anything that is directly exposed to the internet, right, will show up on this website. So, so these are the webcams, right? So all these webcams are right now exposed to the internet, meaning their IP address is exposed. So this website is able to find it. Now, most of these are protected, so we can't do anything else with it, but there will be a few that are unprotected. Okay, and I saw a few examples this morning where I could actually see what was going on inside the garage of a person where there was an exposed webcam. So make sure if you have any of these IoT devices, IoT stands for Internet of Things, right? So like I gave you the example. So make sure these gaming consoles, printers, thermostats, doorbells, cameras, anything, like I said, that can connect to Wi-Fi, has an IP address, can be hacked. So make sure that when you buy it, you change the default setting, you change the username on that, you change the password on it, you change the name of that device, because otherwise it's very easily identifiable. And then once it is identified, and once the hacker knows where it is, it's very easy for them to hack it. Because here's the thing, if they know that there is a, let's say, a specific webcam, right, they already know what vulnerabilities that webcam has, right? And the moment they can get into it, they can get into your entire wireless network. Once they are on your wireless network, there is no stopping, you know, them from doing absolutely anything inside your house. So very dangerous things. These IoT devices, very, very dangerous things. If you don't know how to use it, I would suggest, even if it is inconvenient, shut it down. Okay. All right, moving on to the next one, which is mobile and wireless security. So again, very, very simple stuff, right? If you don't need Bluetooth or NFC, which probably don't ever use it, I know, but location features, anything you don't need, right? And that puts your information, right, exposes your information, shut it down. One of the advantages of actually shutting down Bluetooth is Bluetooth takes a lot of power. So if you shut down Bluetooth, it will save, even you will notice a substantial increase in your battery performance. Okay. Now this next two are very important. Okay. So this is where you will get hacked the most using your Wi-Fi. Okay. So the number one is something called a malicious evil twin of a Wi-Fi network. Okay. So what this is basically, let's say your home network, you have a home wireless network, and it's called ABC, right? So you take your phone, you say connect to ABC, you enter your password, right? What our phones normally do is put it in something called a favorite network, right? Which is anytime it finds ABC, it's going to connect to it, right? Now, what a lot of hackers do, if now generally no one will do this at an individual level unless they are specifically after you, right? But people do it at a mass scale, right? Which is, but I'll give you I'll walk through the specific example, then we'll come to the other. So what I can do is I can buy literally a $10 device on Amazon that will create a network, wireless network with any name, right? With any SSID. So what I could do is I could buy that device, connect it to my laptop, right? And let's say sit next to you on the train or on a bus, right? Now what happens is I name that the wireless network that I have created using my laptop, I name it exactly the same as your home network, which is ABC. Now what happens is the moment your phone comes near that network, it's going to say, oh, ABC. Now the phone doesn't know that this is a different ABC. It just says ABC, I got a good strength, I'm going to connect to it. Now, the way I set up this network is I set it up without a password. So the moment your phone connects to that network, it's basically connected to my laptop, right? So this is called an evil twin network. So the way to detect this is, right, is anytime you find these suspicious networks, right? So because let's say you are at airport and you suddenly see your own wireless network popping up. How is that possible, right? Don't connect to that. Just in general, don't connect to any public Wi-Fi networks. I know free sounds good, but don't connect to any public Wi-Fi networks anywhere outside. Unless you know that this is a secure network that you are paying for, do not connect. Okay. The next one, which is even if you do connect, let's say to some third-party network that you don't know about, right? When you disconnect from that network, click on the forget this network right away, right? Because, for example, right, you go to Starbucks, you connect to the Starbucks network, right? And your phone remembers that. Oh, that there is a Starbucks network that I can connect to because I had connected to this. Moment next time it sees anything that Starbucks, it's going to connect. And that's where the risk comes. So anytime you're disconnecting from a public Wi-Fi, as soon as you disconnect, say forget this network, right? So you don't get into this problem, anytime ever. Okay. Try to use a VPN. I use a VPN all the time, right? Like most of my devices are on VPN, right? It's a very good way of staying, anonymous on the internet. Meaning, I give you examples of IP addresses popping up, on shodan.i, right? If you use a VPN, your IP address is not visible to anything that you connect. Because what is happening is all the information that is going from your laptop to anywhere, let's say, to any website, it is going through the VPN service provider. And the VPN service provider is masking all your personal information. It's masking your IP address. It's masking all the other information that a lot of hackers can use, right? So if preferable, use a VPN. They are very cheap, frankly. I mean, again, $5 a month, and if you buy it for like 2 years, you'll get a 50% discount, right? So they are very cheap. They are very helpful. And a lot of new features are coming up with these VPNs that are even more secure, right? You don't need to know about it, but the one that I use is Surfshark, but there are a lot of good VPNs out there you can use. Okay, and then the last one on this one is related to your Wi-Fi router at your home. So same thing like I talked about IoT, right? Have you changed your default SSID? Have you changed your default admin passwords, admin username and password on your router, right? Because, and then don't give names that are very obvious to your, SSIDs when you change them, right? You know what is SSID? It's basically the name of your network, right? Wireless. So for example, I shouldn't be calling my Wi-Fi network Mugar Wireless, because if somebody is standing outside my house, they can easily, know which wireless network is this and who it belongs to. And then if that person wants to hack me, he can start to play around with my, this Mugar Wireless, right? And don't think that this information is not available publicly, okay? Because I'm going to show you something very interesting again right now. Okay, so we talked about Shodan.io. There is this other website called wiggle.net. Okay, this is a publicly funded project. Okay, sort of crowd-funded. Okay, what they do is they map any wireless network that's available anywhere, and the way it works is there are volunteers that work for this. They don't work; they are volunteers, right? What they do is they go around in a car with a device that picks up these network names. So let's say I'm one of those guys. I'll drive through my subdivision, pick up all the names of the networks, assign an address to it, and submit to this website. Okay, so right now it's showing my subdivision here, right? It is, right? Yeah, Commissioner's Park. And every purple dot is a Wi-Fi network that has been mapped. Okay, so now you'll ask, okay, what's the big deal? What can I do with this, right? There's still a lot you can do with this information, right? Because let me first log. You guys still with me? I hear total silence.
Yeah, I kept everyone mute.
Okay, all right. So here is where the problem comes in. It's not a problem if somebody knows what's the name of my Wi-Fi network, right? But this website, what it does is it actually tells me what kind of router I'm using. Okay, and that is a problem. Okay, so essentially where I'm getting to is it tells me what kind of router I'm using, right? And if you don't change the default SSID of your router, what it does is normally the SSIDs of the router, the default SSIDs of the router are the names of the company. Like, for example, it could be Netgear 201, right? So then as a hacker, I come to know that A, you have a Netgear router, B, you're stupid enough not to have changed the SSID of your router. So it's very likely that you have not changed the user admin user ID and password of your router. So now you are targeted, right? I thought I could see these. Yeah, sorry, I think something happened here. I can't see, but I picked up a couple of these, what do you call, networks here with information on their, what router they were using, how old it was. It seemed like a 10-year-old router where nobody had changed their, SSID, and so it would be very easy for me to like step out and get into somebody's wireless network like in the next hour or so. So, but anyway, that's besides the point, right? So make sure that all these default settings that these devices come with out of the box, make sure to change it, and make sure to change it in a way that does not reflect any of your personal information. Okay, so that's, I think, pretty much it. Okay, so just in closing, right? As I mentioned earlier, if any one of us gets compromised, all of us are at risk. Okay, if you come across a new cyber scam or a phishing or phishing scams, you've heard of phishing scams, right? Where people will call you and they'll ask you, hey, I'm from IRS. If you don't do this in the next 30 minutes, you are going to jail, that kind of thing. So if you come across any of these, right, alert everybody else that, hey, this happened to me. Be aware of it. You might get a phone call or you might get such and such email. So keep everybody informed. And you can actually go and report this on the FTC website. So you can go to FTC and say, yes, I got a call from number ABC. They were doing this. That way FTC gets alerted, and then they in turn alert the whole lot, right? So basically you are helping to keep the entire community and the society safe from these criminals. Subscribe to at least one cybersecurity information source, right? I typically use Twitter, right? But you could use whatever, right? That way, at least you keep on getting informed of the very important ones, right? For example, Microsoft just found a security bug in something, right? And you should patch it right up, that kind of thing. Okay. Then know where you are on a scale of relaxed to paranoid. What I mean is, if you do everything in this that is there if you go through every bullet in this PowerPoint and do all of that stuff, you are paranoid. Okay, it's better to be paranoid than not, but you don't have to go to all that length, right? But make sure that you are not on the relaxed end, because then you are putting everybody at risk. Okay, and then I can send out the the key points from this PowerPoint as a PDF, so you can take a look at, right? And then in the appendix, I have some resources here that you can refer to. Okay, so just some of the things we looked at, right? Have I been pawned, wiggle.net, and then some of these websites where you can get more information on security stuff on an ongoing basis. And the last one, this you might find useful actually, which is there are two very popular methods for generating password without using those password generators, right? And which you can remember. First one is called the Bruce Shiner method, right? Where you take a sentence and convert it into a password. Easy, very easy to remember. Something that interesting that happened to you was, you can just take that and make the sentence, right? So look at this one. Woohoo, I won the lottery, right? So WOO exclamation point, I did something, right? So very easy to remember. And then the next one is a PAO method, right? Which is a person does something on an object, right? So for example, I don't know, your son likes football, right? You can combine that into a sentence. Now, those things are very easy to remember, right? Because again, they are very close to you, but they don't directly translate into a password. And so you can use some of these techniques to keep on creating new passwords and not, have to write it down somewhere so you don't. Okay, so that's all I had. Thank you very much for listening patiently. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Definitely. It was a great session. तर मी चॅट मध्ये जाऊन मी let me check. The first question was if we can't store on the computer, where to store the passwords then? I think you answered that we can have a password manager, but that's typically an iOS app or something.
No, when I say don't store the passwords, meaning don't write down the password. And so, for example, you have 10 passwords. Okay, don't put it in a Word file, type it in a Word file, and put it on your computer. That's what I meant.
Right.
Your computer password is there in the computer. You don't have to do anything about it. The computer encrypts it and saves it. Right. What I was trying to say was, if you have 10 passwords, don't write it down, like put it in a Word document, like I said, and put it in your computer, or write down on a sticky note and put it in a wallet, right? So don't do that.
We do that. Otherwise, remember all the.
Remember all
Then what to do?
Sir?
If
You
you
can,
can
yeah,
write
like I
down,
said,
then
like I said, you have two very easy options. Instead of using a Windows laptop, use an Apple. But that was a joke. But you could use something called password managers, right? There are apps called password managers, like KeyPass. I think iPass. There are a lot of them. You can take a look at on the internet. You can use one of those apps. Those apps do two things.
Right.
One is they they generate passwords for you, and then they save it for you, right? So then all you have to do is create one good password for that password manager, right? And that you must remember, right? Otherwise you are
Right.
But we should use different password for different things if we have different accounts, and write down.
Yes, you should use different. Don't write it down like I was saying, right?
No, not on the computer, but in the notebook somewhere.
No. Don't. That's why I was mentioning, right? You have these apps called password managers, right?
Okay.
You can install one of those password manager apps on your on your computer, right? And what usually those do is when you try to log on to a website, right, and create a username, it will automatically suggest you a very complicated password. Those are like they are like 20 characters and all that complication it has, right? And all you have to say is, okay, use this password. Then what that password manager does is it saves the website address, it saves the username, and it saves that password internally. Nobody knows about it. Okay. Next time you go to that website, that password manager is automatically going to populate that password.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
माधवदादा तुम्ही हात वर केला होता म्हणून you can.
या नमस्कार, मी माधव गोगावले. विवेकजी फार सुंदर सांगितली, थोडक्यात लेमेन्स लँग्वेजने छान सेशन केला. मला एक कपल ऑफ थिंग्स त्याच्यामध्ये जरा हे करायचे, ऍड करायचे. पीडीएफचं तुम्ही सांगितलात, मी स्वतः सायबर सिक्युरिटीमध्ये ओके, गेली अनेक वर्ष सिक्युरिटीमध्ये मी, त्यामुळं आवडला फार तुमचा सेशन. पीडीएफ आपल्याला वाटतं, पण majority of the time lot of hacking is done through the PDF. When you are converting yourself is a different thing, but when you are opening certain PDF file, the PDF files are one time 70 to 80% bad code, or some of the
True. So you're right. So,
to the PDF, it's going down little bit, but don't take it like a PDFs are very secure.
No. So you're right. You bring up a good point, right? You actually bring up a point I'd never touched in this presentation. It's there. There is a bullet item there, which is, I think what you're saying is, do not open any downloaded files, especially PDF, right? Because PDF are very prone to
Vulnerable.
Prone to hiding malicious code. You can hide malicious code inside a PDF file. So basically, I think what Madhav Dada is saying is, if somebody sends you a PDF, don't open it without scanning it.
True.
So
True.
Thank you, Madhav Dada. That is very
Right.
important. Thank you for bringing that up.
This question in the chat, Mayuri Jakate has, is the ISP firewall enough, or do we need more antivirus protection?
Firewall and virus do two different things, right? So even if you have a firewall from your ISP, you should still have virus protection on all your devices. Okay, even though we have just one Windows PC in our house, right? And Kashmira has to use it because of certain softwares. But even on all the other non-Windows devices, even on my phone, I have antivirus.
Wow. Nice. Lina Karkhanis has a question. How do we set up two-factor authentication?
Okay, so this you can do when you are creating your account on any website.
Right.
So for example, if you are creating your Amazon account, it will ask you at that time whether you want to enable dual factor authentication. Nowadays, almost all websites give you this option, right? Your bank accounts will give you this option. Your healthcare accounts will give you this option. Amazon will give you this option. So every website gives you an option to enable two-factor authentication.
Right.
Prasad, this is Milind Velankar. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Milind.
Yeah. So my question is about password manager. If you install password manager on, say, one PC or one laptop, you are essentially tied to that password manager and that PC. There are certain websites I visit from home, and I have to visit them professionally at work from my hospital. So my hospital IT people won't allow me to download any password managers. Okay?
Yeah.
And regardless whether they would let me download it in my office PC or not, it will be a different password that will be generated for the same website I visit. You know, so for example, I'm doing some research about a case I'm seeing next day at night, and then I have to use certain password to get into a database, and I have to get into the same database at work next day. Then if I use a password manager, it is still not secure, because the password generated by one password manager at home won't work when I go to the same website and I have only one account with that website. You know.
True.
So how does one get around this problem?
You cannot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would. So this is a unique situation, right? For example, when I go to work, right, I'm generally not even allowed to log on to the websites that are not required for my work, right?
Right.
So so in your case, I mean, your IT will never allow you to download and install a software that is not authorized by them.
They don't even allow me to download Google Chrome.
No, yeah, and because there is a reason, right? They have to protect their environment, right?
Right.
It's their environment, and they have to protect it the way they have, right? So in this case, you can't do anything, right?
Okay.
There's no solution. You just have to remember that. You just have to remember that password.
So that means password generator is not useful, but I think you can have your own complex password and keep remembering it.
You can still do it, right? You can create the password using the password manager at home, but remember that password. So when you go to work, you can physically, key it in.
It may sound silly, but I take a screenshot and take it with me to work and delete the screenshot next day.
Yeah. Whatever works, right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Milind.
प्रसाद हा कसा चेंज करायचा रे SSID default setting on the router?
It depends on the router. Okay, so every router has a different way of doing it, but every router basically gives you a way to configure itself, right? So first time when you buy a router, right, you physically have to connect it to your laptop and configure it. Now, if you have already configured your router, you can still do it, but it depends on the router.
Oh boy.
पण राउटर बरोबर मॅन्युअल वगैरे येत असेल ना त्याच्यामध्ये we can find the process or something to do it.
Yeah, you will have a manual, right? It will give you very detailed instructions as to how to configure that router.
Right.
And you can still do it, right? I mean, it's not very difficult. I mean, if you want, Prasad, if a few people want, we can have like a working session to walk through this kind of stuff.
Definitely.
मला माझ्याकडे एक्सपेंडिटीचा आहे कॉमकॅस्ट कनेक्शन आणि त्याच्यावर राउटर त्यांचा आहे. नंबर 1 हा पार्ट आहे. नंबर 2, आय एम ए कम्प्युटर इलिटरेट पर्सन और स्टुपिड पर्सन. सो माय क्वेश्चन, पार्डन मी, when I buy my laptop so 10 years back, I bought one time for like protection, Like a Notran, I pay $130 and it's my own and I put it on my laptop.
Acha,
Same
not
thing.
an antivirus.
Yeah, antivirus. And when I joined Xfinity or Comcast,
Yeah.
they have their own virus on my PC. But this January, Notran informed me they have divorced or canceled the deal with the Comcast, and they were asking me monthly PE. I'm just like a Chiku person. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pay monthly $2 to $2.50 per month and forever. Number one. Now I'm ready to buy one for all lifetime ownership, but they don't give it to me. Then my computer IT, sorry for boring you, but my IT friend, two IT friend suggested me, what is the name? Avast. It was available free of charge. And they install on my PC and on laptop.
Yeah.
After a couple of months, that Avast also asking me, oh, we have another good deal. You pay something like a $4 per month and end up, But when I talk with my IT friends, they assure me, don't worry, your free Avast is good for all. So tell me, they're asking me for monthly fee or showing me that, oh, you do this. How to do that? Number one. Number third question, what is a firewall? I'm absolutely do not know. Do I need a firewall? I do have firewall in my PC and laptop.
Yeah.
So do I need something for that?
No, you just have to enable it. You have to make sure that it is on. Okay, and it's not, because like it may have come with default as off, or somebody might have switched it off, or if it is on, then you just don't worry about it. As long as it is on, you're fine. Okay.
Is there any service available? Means like coming to my home and solve my all scary problem. I'm ready to pay the money, because the whole thing, I do not know. Only thing I know, put the computer on and off.
Yeah.
But I do the research work, a lot of research work. I call, and put, as you say, that PDF file. Like when I read the Times of India, they won't allow me copy paste for my database. But my computer friend, when they copy, they send me PDF file.
Yeah.
Same news, but which are useful for me for my research work. So if you say the PDF file is dangerous,
not if it is coming from an authentic source and you scan it using a virus software.
Okay, how about the monthly fee? Asking me today, they're asking me $3. Next year they will ask me $5, like a gas price.
So that's unfortunate, right? Because what has happened, unfortunately, over the last, I don't know if you noticed, for the last 4 to 5 years, everything in IT is moving to a subscription model, right? There was a time when we could buy a CD, right, and listen to music, right? Now there is no such thing, right? You pay $10 to Apple for Apple Music, or you pay become a Prime member for Amazon and get Amazon Music, right?
Yeah.
So everything is moving to subscription model, and so is the virus. I pay $130 a year, Norton, for these 5 licenses for antivirus, right? So that's where it is.
So you means if I pay $130 for Norton, I can have sleep, very nice sleep nighttime without any problem about my laptop or my phone or my
Absolutely.
PC.
I think for $130 you get 5 licenses, so you can put it on 5 devices.
पण माझ्याकडे Xfinity आहे त्याचं चालेल का? I have Xfinity router only.
As long as there is some, like Xfinity gives you Norton, right? So as long as you have it running, as long as you are up.
Xfinity ने cancel केलेले deal. Nortonने inform केले January पासून no more with the Xfinity. You need to buy something new. That's why you have to go monthly subscription of the Norton, like a $3 per month or something like that. There is no free Xfinity from the Comcast or Xfinity.
So we'll call Comcast and ask them for the router. I didn't even know that.
No, there is no free. No, there is no free deal.
No, I think both of you are talking about two different things.
Yeah, I think
talking about the Norton antivirus. You are talking about the router.
Router,
I,
yeah.
th- I think I think what we can do is Alkatai and Sridhar Damle kaka, you can text me your questions. I can route it through Vivek and see what he suggests on these, because one, having the router from the service provider nowadays, that's a trend for everywhere, and having a antivirus, whether it is Norton or McAfee or any other antivirus brands we have, it depends on how compatible and how much services they have in particular package. So that depends on all. So you can text me your questions and I can route it through Vivek.
Prasad, I have a little bit more expensive solution which I use.
Okay.
I pay Best Buy Geek Squad $199 per year, and they not only provide me antivirus and anti-malware software for 3 PCs for 1 year, but with this they can tune up all my PCs as many times as I need them to be. That includes software, driver updates, removing viruses if they find any, etc., etc. And it's a very prompt service. Every time I ask for it, it is available. I generally prefer it late at night so that they work on my computers for an hour or hour and a half, and next day morning my PC is working fine, including all the updates. Not only that, with this just $199 per year, any new appliances you buy, their delivery, installation, and hauling away of old appliance is also included free. So माझे $199 एक appliance तर विकत घेतला की वसूल होतात. So I found it to be the most economically efficient option, although it is not for everybody. I realize.
Nice.
Yeah.
लीना ताईंचा अजून एक क्वेश्चन आहे, विवेक. Is antivirus software needed for smartphone? I thought the Apple provides own security patches through updates.
Well, you should still have it, right? Because you have email on your phone, right?
Yeah.
You will download some file from there, right? So my suggestion, if you're buying file licenses, put one on your phone. It never, like I said, it depends on how paranoid you are, right?
Yeah. True. Nandini has a statement and a question. So every time I buy something on Amazon, with couple of days, I get a call that somebody has bought something on this account worth large amount. I usually go back and check the account, change my password almost every time, and keep my fingers crossed for a week, hoping it is just a scam. Is there a way to avoid this?
So it is a scam, number one. Okay, so these things are called phishing, right? So we talked about phishing, which is through email, right? So this is phishing, which is over voice, right? So people will call you and try to con you into doing something that you should not, right? And they want you to do exactly what you're doing, which is panic and try to go and do something on yours, right? So number one, Amazon will never call you for any of these things. Now, I have myself got, have received at least one of these calls, right? So what I usually do is start, getting into this, because when I got one of these calls, they said, please give us your bank details so we can refund your money. Okay? So that itself there tells you that this is a scam, right? Because if Amazon wants to refund you money, they can just put it back into your account.
Correct.
Right? So, so I don't remember who asked this question, but it's a scam. Don't even pick up that phone. Or if you pick up that phone, if they say Amazon, say, sorry, thank you.
Yeah, Amazon never calls on any of the things, because they I think 2 years ago, they actually removed their customer service number as well.
Exactly. You will not even find a number to call for Amazon. They don't
just need
have
to go through. Yeah, just when you go to contact us, there will be a message section where you put a message, put your email address, and they will reply back on that. They don't have any call center now.
माझ्याकडे ऍपल नाहीये. आय एम ऍपललेस पर्सन. माझ्याकडे रेग्युलर जो आपला पीसी आहे, रेग्युलर पीसी आहे, आणि माझ्या ईमेल मध्ये पुष्कळदा म्हणजे मी स्पॅम, मला संशय आला की मी ते स्पॅम मध्ये टाकतो ईमेल. पण काही वेळेला ते जसं ते अमेझॉनचं बोलला होता की तुमचं बिल आहे, तर मी ते पहिल्यांदा मी घाबरलो होतो, कारण माझ्याकडे अमेझॉनचा कुठलाच अकाउंट नाहीये. मी अमेझॉन मध्ये काहीच बाय करत नाही. माझं अमेझॉनशी कुठलं कॉन्टॅक्ट नाही, तर माझ्या नावाने बिल कसं येतं अमेझॉनचं, म्हणजे असं आलं होतं. म्हणून मी ते स्पॅम मध्ये टाकलं, कारण मला ती चिंता नव्हती. माझा प्रश्न असा आहे की ईमेल मध्ये काय वेळेला सस्पिशियस येतातच, अनवॉन्टेड सस्पिशियस ईमेल येतात, ते मी स्पॅम मध्ये टाकतो. इज दॅट इनफ का आणखीन काही करायला पाहिजे?
As long as you, what you should do is, instead of moving it to a spam folder, you can mark it as spam.
Yeah, I mark it in spam.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So no, then you don't have to do anything, because once you mark it as spam, it gets ring fenced, meaning it has no connection to rest of your PC anymore.
कारण पुष्कळदा अनवॉन्टेड ईमेल येत असतात की आता काय सांगणं देखील कठीण आहे या पब्लिक प्लॅटफॉर्म होणं. पण ते म्हणून होतं की मागितलं नसताना येत आहे, तर कसं हे काय करायचं. तर मला फक्त माझी चिंता एवढी होती की मी आम्ही रिटायर्ड पर्सन व्हेरी लो इन्कम, म्हणजे आपल्या कम्युनिटी मधला गरीब मनुष्य मी असेन, तर $199 पर इयर देणं म्हणजे आमच्या घरामध्ये वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 सुरू करण्यासारखं आहे. तर माझी बायको तर माझ्याहून ही डबल आहे की तिचं म्हणणं आहे की मी आता जे पैसे भरतो तर असे उधळायला तिच्याकडे पैसे नाहीये.
No, there are other alternatives, right? I mean, I can do a research and look at like 4 or 5 different virus softwares and recommend you one.
Yeah, I will appreciate that.
Doesn't have to be Norton, or it doesn't have to be high-end software.
McAfee or some,
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of them. There are even some free that come from Microsoft too. In fact, I think recent Microsoft Windows versions come with.
माझ्याकडे Microsoft 10 आहे माझं विंडो वर्जन.
Yeah, so I think it comes with built-in what do you call virus scanning software too. I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll appreciate that.
Okay.
Sorry to bother you, but I'm a really
not at all. As it is upon here session table.
Yeah. Okay. It's sorry to interrupt. It's 9:30 almost, more than 9:30. We'll take a last question and we'll wrap up. Who has the question now?
Yeah. This is Brushali. I have a question. Sometimes we get suspicious emails from USCIS also, like immigrations and all, and we do definitely get something from on the phone as well. So how do we know? Because I literally got some USCIS email that your social security has been revoked or something like kind of thing. So how do we deal with that?
Remember one thing, right? And this is nothing to do with cyber security or anything. None of the US governments will send you email by themselves unless you ask for it.
Correct.
IRS, USCIS, they will always mail you stuff. It will come in physical mail.
And I think that is in the amendment as well. When Abraham Lincoln was there as president, he added an amendment in the Constitution that all the government offices will use USPS, US mail, to communicate to every citizen of or resident of United States. And that's how they are following since then.
टीव्हीवर पण ऍड आली, टीव्हीवर चिकारदा त्यांनी इन्फॉर्म केलं असतं की नो गव्हर्नमेंट एजन्सी सेंड यू आयदर ईमेल और फोन.
Correct.
Don't give any personal.
If you want to be doubly careful, right? You can go to their website, create your account and make sure that all your communication is through mail only and not through any other channel.
Yeah, okay. So because the way they send the email is it will show as an USCIS website, and I know it's a fake website, but they will portray as if it's that a USCIS website.
Yeah, that's right. But those are very easy to detect, right? Like I said, you can take a look at the email. Another way to do it is when you open an email, right? If you say it's from USCIS, if you open the email, there is a way you can select, open the email, right? So this you cannot do without opening. So you have to open the entire email and go to, all the tools, and there you'll find an option to look at the email headers. There is something called an email header, right? HEADE. So if you look at the email header, it will exactly tell you who has sent you that email.
Okay.
So then you can, verify it yourself that is it from USCIS or is it from some other spammer? Most likely it is from spammer, right?
So are they also part of a suspicious, like is it a virus or something, or it's a hacker, or it's just an fake email?
No. So normally these emails will come with one of two things. Okay. One of three things. Okay. One is there might be a document in there that they want you to open. Never open that document. Okay. Just don't even touch that document, because that document might have malware inside. Okay. Or they want you to click on a link which will take you to a website where they'll ask you to put in some personal information, like enter your social security number, date of birth. Don't do that, right? And third is they might ask you to call somebody and pay something, right? So these are the three ways this whole scam operates, right?
Correct. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the information.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Roshali. Okay, I think it was a very informative session, Vivek. Thank you for taking this all the slides and information. Although bit, it was little complex maybe for the the people, common man, but I think what I suggest is as we are doing this YouTube live, people can go back to YouTube live and listen to what Vivek is saying. And I think Vivek, you would be able to share generic information from your slides as well, right? So once you share it, I will share it with everyone, so people can go through that slide. And if you have any doubts, just reach out to me. I will convey those questions to Vivek, and Vivek can answer those questions for us. So Vivek, thank you very much for taking this session. And as you suggested, we might have some kind of working session where people might need some kind of setup, configuration, those things that you can help.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
It was a pleasure, and always happy to help anyone. If you want to do anything one-on-one, like I think somebody said,
definitely.
Our laptop, come on over, on a Saturday, for an hour, I'll fix your laptop and take it.
That would be great. So
मला एवढंच म्हणायचं प्रसाद की आता मला असं होतं की आपण एखाद्या गीता किंवा ज्ञानेश्वरीच्या लेक्चरला जातो आणि आपल्या डोक्यावरनं जातो, तर मला तर पुष्कळच्या साईड बघताना 90% माझ्या डोक्यावरनं गेलो.
हो, आता परत एक बघा, 10% वाढेल प्रत्येक वेळी.
नाही तर मला लक्षात आलं की आपण किती ढ आहोत, लक्षात आलं. आणि हे पण काही उपयुक्त आहे म्हणून मी तुम्हाला प्रश्न विचारले होते आणि मदत लागेल. पण एवढं नक्की आहे की फ्री मिळत नाही जगामध्ये, काही फ्री नाहीये, पण थोडी रिझनेबल स्वस्तातली त्यात असली तर बरं असतं.
Definitely. Sir, just to say, complete my thank you that although I'm part of Maharashtra Mandal, so I'm thanking Maharashtra Mandal bringing this session, my IT team leads and teammates who tried to help me conduct this session along with Vivek, flyer team, and especially Milind Sadi, who created the first GIF flyer for us. So it's a new trend now. And thank you everyone, all the audiences, questions. Keep coming your questions. We might have few more sessions, either Vivek and any other our tech savvy guys who can help us be better in IT world. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone. And good night. Thanks, Vivek.